Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I thought that today I would go through my two main planners and show you how I used them in September. So if this sounds good to you, then stick around. Okay, so I'm using a Hobonichi Weeks and I'm using a Wonderland 222 B6 all-in-one stacked. Actually, let's go through this first. So I started using this Hobonichi Weeks in March, fell off the wagon, didn't really use it. I used it for March, April, a little bit of May, and that's it. And then I picked it back up again in September to use as just my, like a calendar. And what I also was using it for was two friends and I used an app called Marco Polo. It became really popular around COVID times because people couldn't see each other, right? So you could send each other videos back and forth. And you could, instead of texting or whatever, you could send videos back and forth to each other and kind of see each other's faces more. So one of my friends lives 45 minutes away and one lives in Ohio. And so the three of us, we do this Marco Polo app together. And so what I was doing was I was kind of taking notes in the weekly pages on what my friends were saying. So that way when I went to reply to their videos or to do my video, then I knew what I needed to say. I stopped doing that. And what I started doing was keeping, let's see, I started kind of writing down, well, I had wanted to start writing down what we were going to have for food, and then I was going to use the right-hand page for a grocery list. Now, what I think I'm going to use it for the rest of the year is I am going to write down what we're eating. Today, actually, we're having, I'm going to use these pens. Today is my husband's 57th birthday. So I'm going to make bacon wrapped pork roast. No, I don't have a recipe for it. I'm literally just going to wrap a pork loin in bacon. I'm going to add a lot of seasoning to the pork roast, and then I'm going to literally just wrap it in bacon, and then I'm going to bake it. I don't work off recipes. And I'm making mashed potatoes. And then I think I'm going to do carrots. And then what I'm doing over here, so my friend Stacy, Mims Can Plan, she's also here on YouTube. What she does is she uses this right-hand page to do a lot of tracking. So I'm trying out the same thing because what I want to do is in my 2026 Wonderland 222, I'll show you that. They have monthly tracking sheets, and I want to do a lot more tracking in that Wonderland. So what I have in here is bowel movements. I know that probably is grossing some people out, but I've always had an issue with it, and so I'm writing down if I have one or not, if I've taken my supplements, Miralax, that pairs with up here, if I'm fasting in the morning, if I have drank Rise mushroom coffee in the morning, which I did. It's kind of up here because I just drew these lines in today. How much water I have had. This is 16 ounces. That's how I'm marking it off, is by 16 ounces. If I've had any sugar, which the only day I've had sugar so far is on Wednesday. If I took my meds, what my sleep score was. I wear an Oura ring, and every day it tells you what your sleep score is. Let me show you how that works. So you open up the app and it tells you what your sleep score is. So it tracks all of your movement, what your stress is, what my heart rate is throughout the whole day, and then what time I woke up, and then so it also tells me how fast I fell asleep, what time I woke up, but you can also, so it gives you a score. So my readiness score and my sleep score. So I got a crown this morning when I woke up, telling me that I slept really well. And then my readiness score is 83, which is good. When I was away, it was 53, my readiness was, and my sleep score was only in the 70s. And so you can see that things have gone up over here. So I'm writing those down. If I've journaled, which I haven't, if I've moved, which I haven't, I mean, I'm pretty active. I have 5, 6, sometimes 7 kids here in my house, so I'm pretty active, but any movement over and above what I normally do, I will check off. I am also tracking the weather on this side. This is how I'd like to use it for the rest of the year. Will I continue doing this for the rest of the year? I'm not sure. But this is what I'd like to do for the rest of the year. Now, these pencil boards are from my shop, so if you're interested, visit my shop for these. You can make any of my dashboards pencil boards, so you can change them out for seasons, but that's neither here nor there right now. That's not what I'm talking about. But anyway, so this is my Hobonichi Reeks, and then here is my love. Let's put this up a little bit higher for just a minute. So this is my memory keeper. This is my daycare schedule. This is a little bit of everything. So in the month of September, I used the calendar. I just punched out a piece of, like, from different mail, from things I've purchased, things like that. It's just a really old, you squeeze this and it punches it out. It's just a really old Martha Stewart scalloped circle. And that's what I do, is I'm just adding a piece of ephemera for September. I'm doing the same thing in October. I have 2 things down here so far. So that's how I'm using that. Let me bring you down a little bit lower and move my planner. So then what I am doing, what I do in my weeklies is I add a ton of different stickers. Let's center this a little bit better. There. I add a whole bunch of different stickers. This was the first week of school for my granddaughter. This is a 2024 Wonderland 222. So I'm using stickers to go over the days of the week on here, and I'm redating it with a date stamp. Let me show you what I use. I use this Stays On ink pad, and I'm using this right here from Amazon. So that's it. And then what I do is I use the clean dot markers. Each one of my daycare babes has one of these markers here, and myself, so each one of my families, I should say. So here's me, my granddaughter, we call her Tootie, so that's hers. The Rodriguez family, Sawyer, he's an only, so his name is on there. Then the Olden family, and then the McGraw family. So I use those to mark off the time that my daycare babes are here. I pick up 2 little guys from preschool every Tuesday and Thursday, so that's to remind me to do that. And then over here, all this is I write down what my reel was on Instagram, how many followers I have, and how many likes I got. And I like that. I like that because it just kind of like keeps me aware of what's going on with my social media. So then each week is just really different. And I love it. This right here is some acrylic paint markers, and I love it because you use an acrylic paint marker on the dates that are stamped up here, and it just covers everything up, and it doesn't bleed through the paper. It just sits right on top of the paper. They're really cool. So that is how that looks. And then let me show you September, August. And then I'll just kind of quickly flip through my pages. You'll see that some days I have a lot that I write down. Some days I have hardly nothing. Some days are just busier than others. I took a picture of my granddaughter's artwork and then I just printed it out with my, what is that called? Hold on, now I have to look at it. What is this printer called? I don't even remember, but I don't know. It's a little printer and it prints out like on receipt paper or clear paper. So, Pulley, it's a Pulley printer. I drew a bookcase here, but you know, just kind of lots of this and that, you know. Like I said, like these pages are super busy here. And then I didn't do anything on this day, so I just added a bunch of green stickers over here. But, you know, just, this is how I'm using this planner, and I really, really love it. And it makes me happy to open it up every day. I can't wait to write on the paper. I won't use all of these back pages before the end of the year, and that's okay, because I didn't start it until June, but I have another one right here. So in my video yesterday, I talked about how Wonderland 222 reached out to me to see if they could send me a planner, and I requested another B6 because B6 seems to be my sweet spot. And what I want to do next year is, I love also how this just lays flat. It's like magic. Okay, so what I want to do next year is, so there are trackers in here, right? So I'm going to start using this in December. So all of that stuff that I had written down over here in my weeks on this right-hand page, I'm going to start tracking over here in this monthly page, because then I'll start using my weeks to write down my meal plan, my grocery list, and then recipes in the back. So I want to start using these because this is fantastic. And then if there's other things that I want to track, or if I want to take notes about how this tracking all of this is going, then that's what I'm going to do. But I showed pen tests in here yesterday, and I really, really like that nothing bled through. Even a clean dot marker did not bleed through. There is a lot of shadowing, but I don't care about shadowing. That doesn't faze me in the least. What I care about is bleed through. That is not what I want. But anyway, these are the two main planners that I'm using. I'm using Hobonichi Weeks and my Wonderland 222. So if you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please give me a follow, and I will see you in my next video.